Welcome to Final Thoughts, a 100% unscripted closing for today's artist. Enjoy select songs from the discography of today's artists and more when you search for the hashtag A3Day Highlights playlist on Spotify. Anchor.fm listeners will hear select songs from today's artist during this episode. As always, patrons of an album a day have exclusive access to my private playlist, but please remind me to update it. I'm bound to forget. Let's get started. An album a day is my exploration into the Korean music scene. This podcast will cover mainstream, indie, and some underground artists within the scene and provide both factual and opinionated commentary. The biggest benefit to sharing my thoughts this way is that it will hopefully expose you to more great music and exploration of your own.
You're tuned into an album a day. Show, start.
All right, good morning for real. Like when I tell you it is super morning, it is 5 a.m. and I am in right outside of Dallas, Texas, to be 100% honest, because today is Monday, as you know. It's November 11th. I was about to say October 11th. Help me, Jesus. It's November 11th, and today is a big deal here in the U.S. because supergroup SM Entertainment / Capital Super M is getting ready to start their U.S. tour dates. This is the first time that a K-pop group associated with the Western market has done everything in terms of promo here. So this is the first leg of the tour, and I'm definitely going to provide a special episode tomorrow to recap the experience. So it's a little early out here. You can hear the planes going by and the water at the pool where I am. So we've made it to the final album for 100%, and also we've made it to the point where we can do a final thoughts. And let's just get into it. So we have Retro, which was released in March 2019. So this is recent, and it's fairly cohesive. K-pop fans on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 not worth mentioning and 5 blah 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 blah. It's a 4. So the gentleman closed out fairly well to be able to pull in some 4s in the last stretch. And their overall discography for me will be a 3.5. It's a 3.5. As the years progressed and they've gotten more longevity under their belt in terms of being an act, there's just not enough vocal growth for me to be impressed. There's a few songs that are on the playlist that I added and whatnot, and going back and hearing them again the third time, I appeal to some of them, but this is most definitely not something that I would go out of my way to go listen to. I just wasn't impressed enough. And I don't know if that's me reaching, thinking that every group is supposed to have an overly articulate vocalist or vocalists and always challenge their sound every album. And in fact, now that I've verbally said it, I do know that it's not me. Because what's the point in getting stuck in something? What's the point in creating a discography and distributing that? Wow, wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. What's the point in distributing that if there is nothing that changes? Yes, it guarantees their longevity. It most certainly has. But honest to goodness, with the exception of the first 3 songs on the hashtag A3Day Highlights playlist, there's really not a lot of difference. Each song somewhat sounds like the one that just went off, and that's limiting. I'm looking at some of the opinions on forums and some of the YouTube videos associated with their discography, and fans of theirs are like, they're so solid and they're underrated and whatnot. I'm very annoyed with the word underrated when it comes to the K-pop industry, simply because there's so many artists and there's so many different sounds and production styles that can cater to any and everyone. That's what makes it popular music. And just because it's not popular to a large Western audience does not mean that there's not a captivated domestic audience as well as a captivated foreign audience that's not in the West. Everything doesn't have to appeal to the North American and the European audience. It just doesn't. And we are so biased in our way of thinking and classifying the quality of music that it impacts that. They have a huge following in Japan. This is where a lot of their promotions are done. And clearly, with me classifying their music as coffee shop music, it's great ambiance music for those type of settings. And those are the type of settings and environments that appeal to the Korean consumer market. Not to say that they don't go to clubs and have fun and things of that sort, but from living there, I know from firsthand experience what I saw, and you can't detract from what I experienced there. I know what kind of music plays in the coffee shops. I know what kind of music is out and about in Hongdae or in Daeseogu and things of that sort. Things that you'll hear when you're walking along the roads in Haeundae. There's an undeniable market that they've captured and they've maintained. They're doing far better than I have. They debuted the year I got into K-pop, and we've been in this bad boy together, and I've just heard of them for the first time during this experience. But that's also because I appeal to the artists that have a more bombastic sound, a more dynamic visual aspect, and I'm just not a ballad person. And that's where that's where they reside, and it's a strong thing for them, so I can't deny that. And I feel like there's something to applaud in that, not necessarily pat myself on the back, but just having the understanding that just because I don't care for it that much doesn't mean that they aren't proven. They definitely are. And maybe they will win you over, listener. You never know. Or maybe you might go through the hashtag A3Day highlights playlist and hear them and get to the third song and you're like, I can't. You just skip it. And that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I feel like I gave a good mix of things for the playlist. I genuinely tried to add some of the songs that I appealed to because I specifically spoke about them in past episodes, as well as some that I didn't care too much for, but they seem to make the playlist work well. I mean, it does have to. It's going to be hundreds upon hundreds of songs on there. So there won't be any clips in this, though. I know I said in the drop that, Anchor listeners will be able to hear an aspect of some of the songs, but not this time. Not this time. You need to experience them on your own and not in this final thoughts. So I appreciate you all rolling with me when I do things on location like this. This is not 100% quiet, but you have had worse audio from me over the course of this show. There's no denying that. And tomorrow I look forward to sharing with you. Hopefully I'll have a voice. I'm a little nervous, but I do look forward to sharing with you my special episode recap of tonight's experience. And then we move on to Group 14U. I don't know about them. And they came and went just as fast as they were around. So this should be interesting. All right, everyone. I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye, y'all.